The Earnestly Speaking podcast is a show that is founded on free-flowing conversation and may at times venture into mature subjects. Listener discretion is advised.
Okay, welcome to the Earnestly Speaking podcast. I'm host Earnestly. This is coming to you on a now quarantine Monday. This is now 10 Monday. Online, of course, from the pod, Boston Jack and us. We're going to talk some Tom Brady and the Patriots and Brady going to Tampa and all that stuff. Jack, how sad are you right now?
How sad?
Are you upset about this whole situation? Brady going to Tampa?
Well, I mean, it didn't have to happen this way, and that's what's going to come out, I think, over the after all this virus nonsense blows over and we get back to some sense of normalcy. We'll start to see you'll go through the stages of grief, anger, the whole breakup type thing that you go through. I guess there's like 7 stages. People are upset, and then I think the news will come out. And people already have their theories. I mean, and then you get the stories that have gone, back years ago with that guy we talked about, that Wickersham guy.
For ESPN.
Maybe there was more truth to that than we originally thought. But it was the way it was presented that was hard to swallow at the time, because things still seemed rosy on the outside. And maybe he tapped into some behind the scenes things that we weren't ready to deal with at the time. But now that he's gone, I think things will come out, and people already have their theories. And you don't have to be a brain surgeon to figure out, who the bad guy is going to be up in New England, who the villain, who will get the blame for this.
And that's Hoodie. Belichick.
And that's what I've said all along, and that it was Hoodie. I mean, you've been a fan of Hoodie longer than me.
Yeah.
He goes back to, of course, to the Giants days. And can you honestly say that even when you had him, he was a charismatic, likable kind of person?
No, but I think that, but I think that's also on purpose, because he's able to be cutthroat this way. It's been said that he's able to be cutthroat this way because of the fact that he doesn't have that relationship in that same way with players. Like, he keeps a distance for that reason.
And I get all that. You got to be professional. You got to do your job. But this goes, miles and miles above that. I mean, even Parcells, his supposed mentor, always showed loyalty to certain players. Like, even when Parcells left the Giants and went to the Patriots, there were certain players who followed him. When Parcells went to the Jets, there were certain players who followed him. When Parcells went to the Cowboys, there were certain players that he liked and he took with him. Hoodie just shows no loyalty at all, and this whole thing of get rid of him a year before he's ready to tank. That whole thing, I mean, yeah, I get it, but this isn't a normal situation. This is the greatest quarterback of all time, arguably, and to be shown no loyalty, to not be able to finish your career on your own terms, to basically be run out of town by a prick. I mean, are you really saying that the options you had with Brian Hoyer or the guy they drafted 2 years ago,
Stidham? Yep.
Stidham. That's your answer. That's how you want to end this dynasty. We talked about this a little bit. We scratched the surface the last podcast we did
back in October.
November. The realization that was going to be Brady's last game. That it was a good chance that was going to be Brady's last game, and people were just so blasé about it. He was leaving, and people were just like, oh no, he'll be back. Nah, you could tell he was, and you see it more and more now. He was pissed off about something, and this goes back a couple years. And you could tell where he said he wasn't going to take the hometown discount this time. He wanted to be paid, and I think there was a lot of back pay in that too. And
Right.
I think he was asking for some respect, some loyalty, and it didn't come. And the phone call that supposedly took place between, Brady and Belichick, I mean, I'm sure it was very cordial, very professional, but there was no like, hey, we've been together 20 years. I mean, think about it. How long have you and Lauren been together? Is it 13, 14 years?
14, yes.
Okay. I mean, they've been together 20. That's 6 years longer than you guys have been together. And the things they've been through, and you just expect certain things, and to just be
right.
Yeah,
But Jack, you have to admit though, and I think this is where I think even Patriots fans who are upset with this move have to kind of sort of come to grips with too. Like, there is no precedent for this though. The 20 years, number one, no precedent for that. The 6 Super Bowls, the winning Super Bowls on the far back in your career, and then he's playing at 43 years old. Now, granted, last year was a down year by his standards, but then again, look at the numbers, it wasn't horrible. I mean, it was definitely a disintegration from previous years, but there was no precedent for this. When they came to the point where they had to choose between Garoppolo and Brady, I even defended keeping Brady because he's still giving you the direct result you want. Does it hurt you long term? Yes, but with Brady being at 40 years old, whatever, you had to think only short term at that point. But he was giving you the results.
I think it comes down to loyalty and legacy. I think Brady should have been allowed to finish out his career, to play at age 43 and 44 and 45. And if the skills decline, so what? He earned the right to have a 9-7 year.
So you're okay? Basically, you're saying you're okay with him if he felt let's say next year or the year after that he fell off the entire bridge, as a player. You're okay with that because he earned the right to do that.
He earned the right to do that. And would Shula have done that to Marino? And I'll go back even further. A guy who was pretty much a coach who was kind of a prick, but he was considered the best. Would Lombardi have done that to Starr? Would he have let him walk? Would
Probably
Shula have done
no,
that
because of that era.
No
but the
way.
era too. Also, to be fair, the era is different compared to now. We're talking, the 60s versus the aughts and whatnot. That's a big difference. I mean, but yeah, you're probably right about that. But still, the loyalty thing, I get that too also. And this is where I'm shocked, because I was still saying, even up until the last couple of weeks, that he's still staying. My philosophy was that Robert Kraft will come in 11th hour, like he did a couple years ago, and force Belichick's hand. And I'm wondering, Jack, if it came down to the fact that Belichick did say maybe it's him or me. That's what I'm thinking. That's what it came down to.
Well, that whole thing about pick and choose your battles.
Right.
Well, I think Kraft, if Kraft kind of interceded with the, trade Jimmy, keep Tom for another couple of years, maybe Kraft felt, well, I already interceded once. I don't want to do it again. So I think he used up his one get out of jail free card when he kept Brady over Jimmy 2-3 years ago.
Yeah, actually, you know what, Jack? Though as you said that, you know what it kind of reminded me of a little bit to a lesser extent. It kind of reminded me of Dwayne Wade and Pat Riley a couple of years ago when Dwayne, his last year in Miami, where 11th hour, Mickey Harrison comes in, gets him 1 year deal, full front end contract, the best contract 1 year deal he's had in his entire career. And then the very next year, they went back to the drawing board again. It was the same situation, and this time I don't know, Riley said him and me, but Harrison just let him walk. Same situation.
Yeah. I think you can only do that. I think you can only do that once.
Right.
And the second time you got to back your coach, your GM. Or
it's just tough because
you end up with a Jerry Jones, George Steinbrenner, chaotic owner,
right?
Relationship type thing. That crap doesn't work.
But here's what's different though from all the things we just mentioned there. So post Garoppolo, they trade Garoppolo in 2017 November, right? Okay, so that same year they go to the Super Bowl, they lose to the Eagles. Obviously, you and I can argue, and I think you've even said in this podcast many times over. You believe Belichick may have actually purposely thrown that game by not playing Butler in that game, but they could have used him, Malcolm Butler. Okay,
not purposely. I think the hoodie ego I think he out-egoed himself. He out-coached himself.
Yes.
I think he thought, well, whatever I say is right.
You're still pissed about that game, actually, to be honest with you.
What? Say that again?
You're still pissed. You're still today pissed about that game.
I think a lot of people are, and I'm glad to see that another writer wrote what I've been thinking for years, that, Hoodie's ego benched Butler, right or wrong, you still got, did you really need to bench him the whole game? One or two or three, four, five, a couple of plays could have changed the outcome of that game. And again, a situation where Malcolm Butler earned the right to play in that game. He stole a Super Bowl single-handedly from Seattle that year. Mm-hmm. Malcolm Butler only. He earned the right. I don't care what he did. I don't care if he broke curfew, smoked some pot, slept with Rudy's daughter. I don't care what he did. He earned the right. He earned the right to play a couple of plays in that Super Bowl.
Jack, you know what I'm shocked about that whole Butler thing is the fact that we have still, 2 years later, have not heard nothing from his camp or anybody else about why he was benched in that game. It is fascinating to know why did Belichick bench him in that game, because no one's leaked me out since then.
Yeah, it's amazing if there's no leaks. We got to get those same people into politics so things don't leak out of Washington.
Right.
But yeah, who's ever keeping that a secret? They're doing a really good job.
It's 2 years.
I would expect Malcolm would have said something by now, so I'm a little surprised there. But then again, I don't know if Malcolm could actually. I don't know if he actually knows. He might not know himself.
That's a good point. So, post-Garoppolo here, we just mentioned. So, post-Garoppolo, when he got traded in November of 2017, okay? So, 2 months later, they lose Super Bowl to the Eagles, okay? Then, for next year, you win a Super Bowl against the Rams, okay? Then, last year, you go 12-4, you lose in the wild card round, obviously, one of the most weirdest years where first couple weeks 8-0, you look like the most dominant team in the football, and then you guys just fall apart pretty much as an offense, pretty much, the rest of the way. My frame of mind coming into free agency this year was, okay, even though you want to plan for the future, you don't have a backup plan right now. So you keep Brady for one more year, you give the money he wants, you give him the pieces he wants, or work it out somehow, negotiate, the balance between the money you're paying for him and the money you're paying for talent, because obviously that's what you didn't have last year on that side of the ball, okay? And then you also draft a quarterback in the draft. You guys lost the wild card round, so you guys have a semi-respectable position in comparison to what you guys normally get every year anyway, that was my frame of thought. Okay, well, let's go all with Brady one more year and then maybe draft another guy. Understanding that if you don't think Stidham's the guy moving forward, which, by the way, I like Stidham. I followed him in college at Auburn. He's actually a real good quarterback, in my opinion, but that's just me. But that was my frame of thinking. Brady one more year, there's no backup plan, go forward. I'm still stunned a week later that, and not only that, they didn't even really approach him. It was pretty much they had a meeting the day before free agency started, and nothing really came of it, and that was it, and he was gone. That's the strange part, is that I think the Patriots, made the decision, the way they made the decision, and what they did, it's like they knew it was hard to go this route, but they had to, I guess, in their mind. I don't know, man. I'm still stunned.
Well, as somebody who's worked in the poker business as long as you and I have, mm-hmm. I think they tried to call Brady's bluff, but they should have seen the cards on the table. The guy sold his house. The writing was on the wall that he was. If he was bluffing, it was a good bluff. When you sell your house, that's usually a good tell. And if they still didn't want to believe it, read the newspaper. He's gone. And the signs were there all along. It's obvious he was pissed off that they didn't get him any weapons. The little subtle digs were, hey, we're winning, but it's because of our defense. If that's not a subtle little dig that, hey, I could use a couple weapons here, somebody to throw to other than Julian, it's frustrating. And it really hasn't sunk in a lot of ways that he's not going to be the quarterback next year, because he's been there for so long. I think a lot of people, with all the other stuff that's going on right now, this really hasn't sunk in up in New England because of all the stuff that's going on outside of football. And I got to say, even I feel bad. Maybe I'm a little tone deaf when I went on Facebook the other day and posted about my season tickets. I probably should have held off on that stuff.
You did. I didn't see the post though, but you did text me. that
But
you and your son, JR, actually got season tickets for the Buccaneers.
I probably should have just kept, I was a little tone deaf there about what's going on in the world, but I was just so happy that, hey, I'm not giving up on Brady. I'm still a Brady fan. I'm going to go see him play next year. In retrospect, maybe I should have held off on that post. But,
did you get a blowback from that?
No, nobody said anything to me, but I think a lot of people didn't comment based on them thinking, Jack, you're kind of an idiot. Posting about this when everybody's worrying about their jobs and dying and this and that. But hey, I was just so happy to get some season tickets and a chance to see my hero play for a couple more years.
So let's talk about that now quick, because now we're going to shift out from him in New England now, sayonara 20 years to now to Tampa Bay. I've been having arguments with people on social media last week, obviously, about this move, and I still think, I know, again, the drop-off he had last year in comparison to what he's been for his entire career. Okay, I still think even with that drop off, he is still in the 1/3 the best quarterbacks in the league. I mean, I'll give it even at 43. I will call last year an anomaly based on the circumstances, because obviously when you lost Antonio Brown after one game, when you lost Josh Gordon after a couple of games, obviously there was weapons. Edelman was hurt most of the year, so and there's no Gronk also too. So that offense looked like absolute garbage by the end of the season. That being said, I've been defending for the last week the move to Tampa, because the Buccaneers last year was 7-9 with the most inconsistent one-season quarterback in the history of the league, a guy who led the league in both touchdowns and interceptions in Jameis Winston. Okay, you can't get more inconsistent than that. Okay. And they went 7-9, and they were competitive in parts of the year. I watched them play a lot last year. I actually had a bet in where I had them taking the overs 2.5 wins last year, because I thought they would actually be competitive, and they actually got the over like I thought. You mean to tell me that Tom Brady, even at 43 years old, can get 2 more wins out of that roster with Mike Evans and O.J. Howard and Godwin, those guys, a somewhat good defense with pass rushers and whatnot? You mean to tell me Tom Brady, even at 43, can get 2 more wins, and to boot, next year starts the extra playoff spot. So now you're taking 7 teams to the playoffs. So 9-7 could get you in the playoffs next year easily with the extra playoff spot per conference next year.
Well, if the team does go 9-7, I think a lot of people will see that as a disappointment. A Tom Brady team can't go 9-7.
Oh, I'm saying that's
for him.
No, Jack. Bear in mind, I'm saying 9-7 as the actual floor. Not just like the expectation. I think they win 10+ games. I'm just saying 9-7 is the absolute floor.
Well, I think the wild card that we're not talking about is everyone's saying Goodwin and Evans. Yeah, he's got the 2 weapons, but think about O.J. Howard, how underused he was last year. There's a tight end I wanted Belichick to get, and I think they did try to get him, but Tampa Bay didn't want to let him go. He was so underused. So here's Jameis Winston throwing for all these yards and all these touchdowns, interceptions. He's not even using his tight end. Give Brady a tight end, and he'll make things happen. And their second tight end, Cameron Brate, he's not that bad either. So you got that 2 tight end set again with the 2 wide receivers, and if you can get some production out of your running back, if you can get is it Ronald Jones? Is it?
Not exactly. I'm sure, but.
No, they're starting running back. I should.
I don't really know to be honest anymore, because they've been pretty much a turnstile of backs last couple of years.
I mean, here I am. I want to be a Tampa Bay fan. I got to get my.
You better get the program ready. You got to get your online program going. Come on.
And I know they'll probably. I mean, they've got a high draft pick. They had a decent defense. I really think there's a lot of upside for what that team can do. They didn't do last year. I mean, I think Arians are going to be like licking his chops, to air it out. I mean, that's an offensive guy. Who's their offensive coordinator? I should know.
I think the old Falcons coach.
Is it Byron Leftwich?
No. But Leftwich is the other guy. Leftwich is somewhere else. Isn't the guy for the old Falcons coach? I'm sorry, that's wrong. That's wrong. The old Bucs coach is the Falcons offensive coordinator. I got that reversed actually. You might be right actually about that. Keep talking. I'll look it up in a second.
But I mean, if they let Brady air it out, I mean, and he didn't really make as many demands as I thought he was going to make. Everyone was saying he was going to like demand control of the roster and who to bring in and what to do. I mean, he's going to want a good third down back. You know, somebody like James White, because James White, I mean, he's going to miss James White. I'm a big James White fan. I hope they get him someone like that. You know, see who's out there.
Ain't Deion Lewis? Lewis is a giant now, apparently.
Right. I think LaShawn McCoy wouldn't be a bad pickup if he wanted to come in.
By the way, it is Leftwich. You're correct. It is Leftwich.
It is Leftwich. Okay. And there's an old quarterback who should be able to get with Tom and put some plays together.
Yeah.
Tom's going to have some weapons that he hasn't had since the years of Welker and Moss. You know, going back to that 2007 year. He's going to have some deep threats, a couple of decent tight ends, if they can buy him some time. I mean, he gets rid of the ball fast anyway. But he's got a couple of guys who can get downfield fast. Mm-hmm. A couple of tight ends who can catch the ball.
I mean, you got Mike Evans, who is a top 5 assist receiver in the league easily. Really big body, you know, can do a lot of damage, and you give him to arguably the smallest quarterback in history of the game. Yeah, I mean, look, Brady's not going to win games on his arm. He'll win his game with his brain. And you got Godwin and Howard and Evans is going to draw double teams, obviously, in moments. So a lot of weapons for the Buccaneers here. I mean, I said 9-7 because that's the floor. I told my people on social media that this is a 9 to 12 win team next year with Tom Brady.
Yeah, I mean, and he'll win games that Jameis Winston. He'll win games. It's going to sound like a stupid statement, but he'll win games by not losing the game.
Right, that's correct. Because the Bucs could have won 2-3 extra more games last year if Winston didn't throw as many picks he did.
Yeah, trying to make a throw that just isn't there. I think Tom will make better decisions because he's been doing this for 20, 21 years, but that's what he does. I mean, and people criticize him for throwing the ball away. Same thing with Aaron Rodgers. He gets criticized for throwing the ball away. If you're throwing the ball away, you're not throwing it to the other team.
That's correct.
So, I mean, that's not always a bad thing. I mean, sometimes, I used to, I'd get frustrated watching the game. I'm like, Tom, why, you have this, you have that. It's easy to, see stuff from, the stands. So I was a little concerned that he was throwing stuff away out of frustration, but, when you're doing that, you're not throwing, costly picks.
Okay, so let's close here real quick. Back to Foxborough. Because now the reality sets in. Brady's gone. What are the Pats right now? I mean, they signed Brian Hoyer. So clearly there's going to be probably a competition for a starting quarterback job between him and Stidham next year. Now, mind you, the defense is still pretty good. Although he has some pieces he lost too. Ben Noy's gone, from the pieces there, but he's still relatively a solid defense.
It's a huge drop off. It's going to be Hoodie's ego. And he's in a really I can't lose situation because if he doesn't win, he can say, well, look, I didn't have this and that and this and that. Well, it's your team, buddy. And if he does win, well, he's genius. So really, he can't lose, and he's earned the right. As much as I am not happy with him right now, he's earned the right to do whatever he wants.
So. Just from off the cuff right now, as we're sitting here in our quarantine houses right now in the March, God knows how long we're gonna be doing this this exercise. 8-win team, less than 8 wins. Where's this team going? I've heard people say 4-12, 6-10. I don't know. I still want to say 8-8 at least because Belichick is that good, and maybe he can get more out of less, as he always has for his entire career. But maybe this is it. Maybe this is the time that Pats haters been praying for. This moment that the Pats fall apart. Maybe I don't know.
The dynasty is definitely over. So anything over 8 wins is Hoodie finally winning Coach of the Year.
That's something to think about. Yeah.
Yeah, because the expectations are going to be low for the first time in 20 years. Mm-hmm. So I think anything. So a 9-7 season won't be frowned upon as much as it should be. But the thing is, I really think that when the dust settles and they start playing up there, Hoodie's going to, take a lot of, and if they do start off, 1-2, 1-3, 1-4, I think the rat of New England fans, I think the Hoodie leash is going to get shorter and shorter if they get off to a really rough start.
And it could be, it could be really good because of. And here's the thing, Jack. I'm not saying it wrong here because I think it won't be because of what's happening in the moment. It'll be because of what happened in the last couple of years or how things were handled.
Right, and the other thing too is that Hoodie's gotten away with it because he's winning. He's not a nice guy. He's not a public relations. The reporters aren't crazy about this guy. The sports writers, the radio, and the TV people, they're not crazy about him. He's basically been a prick for 20 years, and he's got away with it because he's put up the numbers. He's a winner, but that's going to turn really fast when he starts losing. And at those press conferences, he's got to explain, why Tom's not there, why Brian Hoyer, is doing this, and why the defense is that, and why the running back did this, and, who's your tight end, and they still don't have a tight end, by the way. So, I mean, what is going on up there, and is Hoodie are they going to continue to fly, when he's 7-7 or struggling to make the playoffs? I think his act will grow, I think it'll start to lose a lot of its luster.
Maybe a tank for Trevor Lawrence, who knows? From Clemson, who knows?
Yeah.
This is going to be bad. So, basically, it's safe to say that right now, this year, the AFC East, it's Buffalo Bills to lose, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's wide open for the first time in 20 years. It could be the Bills. I mean, maybe Sam Darnold finally gets it together when he stops seeing ghosts. And who knows? Maybe Miami, when they take all the New England players, maybe they get it right this year too. I mean, they got the Brian Flores. He's no idiot.
Done a great job. I think they did a great job last year, honestly.
He came on strong at the end of the year. Maybe that carries over into this year. Who knows? It's anybody's division, and you can't put New England down at the top like you have for the last 20 years. I mean, it's anybody's division for the first time in forever.
Well, it's going to be once we get out of this quarantine world we're living in, it's going to be a fascinating year, and this is going to be one of the biggest stories to follow between Brady and he does Tampa, and then of course New England, how they adjust from the 20 years of success and Brady Belichick. We'll see how that goes, man. Jack, it's been a pleasure, man. Awesome.
Always a pleasure.
All right, buddy. Let you go, okay? I gotta go.
I'll see you.
All right, man. Thank you again.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.